In this daily drop, I'm going to give you an overview of the setup here for these interviews. So let's go. All right, everybody, another episode of the Daily Drop, and when you watch this, I'll either be on an airplane or at my next destination, which is not necessarily a secret, but I'd rather just do an episode from there, and you'll see what's going on. I am in a space that I've been in before. If you remember a previous episode, and I'm actually going to look into B camera right now, that's B camera, that we have shot in before. This is a space that we used with the big bay window, and we did not look in this direction. And that's because over here, and I'm looking at A now, in this space, go ahead, Skylar, and just go ahead and frame me as if I'm being interviewed, if you don't mind. And we're still dialing this in a little bit overall. But basically this is the overall shot. So we're seeing this fireplace and this area over here. This wasn't set up when we were here last time. It had to be cleaned up. There was a little bit of cosmetic stuff that had to be done into the space. So we are here, and there's going to be a 2-camera interview set up, which we have, but I'm not going to be here. So we're kind of going through the whole process of what this setup is and how to do it for that particular production. And I knew this was going to happen, so here we are. So let's talk about the equipment in the space. To my right over here, and we're only doing singles here, so we're not doing doubles at all. To my right, I have the 240C. So that is the new Pavoslim. It's a 2x2 panel that folds in half to 1x2, and we're using that through essentially a magic cloth that's bouncing off of this corner of the room, and that's producing the key light that we're using for this particular shoot. Then over my left shoulder, there are 2 more fixtures that we're going to be using, and if you can see them in the frame there, feel free to pan and tilt over to them, Skylar, if you are able to. And the other thing that you'll start to see in the space is that we're controlling the space quite a bit. So over there, we have the small 60C with the 36-degree projector. And then just behind it, there is a Pavoslim 120B, a bicolor version. And that one is being used just to create a level of ambience inside of the space. So let's come back to me, if that's okay. You'll also see that we're covering the vast majority of the windows inside of here. We have sound blankets, we have stuff that's flagging light, and we're just trying to control the space as best as possible. From a sound standpoint, we still have the refrigerator plugged in, but in production that will get unplugged. Keys will go in there, so it is not forgotten, and it gets plugged in at end of day. If you don't mind, Skylar, on A camera, could you just tilt up? In terms of audio, we're not going to use lavs. We're double booming, but with a different intention this time to what I've done in the past. This is the smaller bar for these 2 mics. This is the one that we're favoring for talent, going into a mix pre 6.2. We've got a little bit of the noise assist in there, just a few dB, just to help bring the ambience down. And then this is just a safety into channel 2. And that's really the entire purpose of that microphone. All right, let's reset back to a regular frame, which would be great. And then in terms of light that we're actually seeing that's coming from outside, it's only this over my left shoulder. We have some paper behind those blinds to slow down that ambient light a little bit. And we're trying to control the space without tenting or covering everything up outside as much as possible. And we, of course, want it to feel similar to this throughout the interviews. So some people will be taller, some people will be shorter, but essentially we've got this main key light, which is there. And then to my left completely, we have a big sound blanket, which is white on one side and black on the other. Let's take a look at what these lights are actually doing. So I'm actually at, and just before I do that, I want to mention that we know that people are going to be adjusting. So we're trying to make sure that there's some wiggle room there, and there will be people on both cameras to make adjustments for talent. But if you don't mind, Skylar, let's go ahead and turn off all of the lights in the space so we can take a look at what this looks like with them all off. And it's just like a running theme here. The pie's ready with my alarms, but we're in production here, and that's just the way it's going to be. So this is no lights in the space. We're getting a little bit of a kick here from the window. It's not super sunny today, so that's the case. Let's go to channel 1 and just turn on the key so we can see what that's doing. Great. Let's go ahead and can you do me a favor before you turn on other lights? Let's take the, you're going to cross frame or go from over there. Take the fill, the big rolling fill, and move that far away from me. And then I'm actually going to have you roll it closer to me. So there it is. The further away, we're obviously getting a little bit more neg. Just naturally because of the space. And then let's bring that all the way in. So just come straight toward me. I'll give you a woof when you're close enough. Keep going. Rotate it a little bit more towards camera. A little bit more, and then rotate a little bit more. And right about now, rotate it away from in the other direction, just so that we're not covering up our other lights over there to your right, Skylar. There. Okay, great. And so you can see we can move that in and out. Now it's black on the other side, and I keep looking as if I'm being interviewed. It's black on the other side, so if we really needed neg, we could do that with that. And then let's go ahead and, just so we can see it before you turn on the kick or edge, let's turn on channel 3, which is ambient. It's not going to do a lot. Should just lift just ever so slightly. And let's move this back a little bit more. Because it is getting flagged a little. And what I'm going to do just to artificially show you what it's doing, and then, yeah, let's just leave it there for now. That's great. Thanks, Skylar. Let's go ahead and turn off that ambient light again. And then turn it on. So it's just giving a little bit of lift. And that Pavoslim 240B is only set to 30% output. So we have plenty of room to bring the ambience up or down. We're not totally dialed in yet. The DP who's going to come in and shoot this with Skylar next week is going to maybe make a couple of little adjustments to that. And then let's go ahead and turn on the 36-degree projector. And that's channel 2, and we have that little, and you can see that's just lifting over here. It's creating a little bit of something there. And then depending on how we adjust it, defocus it, focus it, it's going to be able to give us a little bit of edge here. And of course, we can walk that fill in more if we think that that's appropriate. And you can see here, I think we have it framed for interview style now between A and then B camera. And that's the basic setup. I mean, we're 2 FX30s. We're set to 400 ISO. We're set to an f2.8. We're shooting in log. And we're just using a 709 LUT for reference. And I don't think there's much else to talk about in terms of the space itself. But that's what we've got. Am I going this way? I am. Don't forget to. Oh, I'm going to look to camera. Don't forget to. And I'll see you on the next episode of The Daily Drop.